We kick off our month on Looking Back to Look Forward with director K. Laurel Manning. His debut feature film, Happy New Year, is about a group of brave veterans who find friendship while fighting to redefine their lives as they struggle to overcome PTSD. In part one of our interview, Laurel talks about the story behind the film and the perils and promise of Kickstarter. So what is Happy New Year about, and what's the origin story?
Happy New Year is a feature film that tells the story of a war-torn Marine who returns stateside after 4 tours of Iraq and Afghanistan. And he finds himself recovering in a VA hospital close to where he lives, close to his hometown, and he suffers from post-traumatic stress. There, he found himself surrounded by other soldiers, mostly from Iraq and Afghanistan, but there are some soldiers from veterans that are from Vietnam and World War II as well, that also from post-traumatic stress in some way. The project started as like a one-act play that I wrote about 6 years ago now in January of 2007, and it basically dealt with it was inspired by a conversation that I had with a Chicago policeman who happened to be an Iraq vet. I just became very intrigued by the idea of going to war, fighting, why people fought, why, what they got out of it, that kind of thing. And it kind of opened my eyes to this whole world of the military. And then I started to read articles about post-traumatic stress or post-war trauma or some kind of combat trauma that people were returning with. About 25% of all veterans will come back with some sort of post-war trauma. And that really intrigued me. So fast forward about 3 years to meeting this gentleman, and he inspired me to write this one-act play called Happy New Year. And got a chance to perform the play with my very close friend, Michael Cuomo, in the lead role of Sergeant Lewis. And then from there, we got the inspiration to do a short film adaptation of that short play. The seed was planted to do a feature film. And the feature, in order for me to do the feature, I was so confident doing the feature or even writing the story, I thought I needed to do a great deal of research. So I set out on a journey of interviewing anyone who would speak to me from the military. And so at the end of about 8 or 9 months, I had interviewed, along with Michael, about 80 veterans and their families, along with military personnel, medical personnel, you name it, just as a way of seeking some sort of authenticity for the script, because I did not have a military background, and even Michael, who's playing the lead role, first thing I wanted to do was know what the hell I was writing about. So that's why I commenced this research which kind of took over my life. So the film comes out December 7th here in New York, and it will open slowly across the country.
Cool, okay. So, Laurel, nowadays with sites like Kickstarter and Indiegogo, more than ever, people can do microfinancing. What are the pros and cons of going this kind of crowd-funded route, and what do you think of the trends are going to be in the future? How is this going to evolve in the future?
I think the pros and cons of it are that you can go directly to the consumer and say, hey, do you believe in this product? If so, help us create it. And the great thing about being a person who contributes to that, because you feel that in some way that you had some hand in helping create this work of art, whether it be a film or a CD or an art project. So you go directly to those people and say, hey, help me make this. If you believe in me and believe in my talent or believe in this idea, let's create it together. And you write a check out, and I'll give you some incentives or whatever to write a check for a certain amount. And you're part of the project. You're part of the team. And I don't think that's ever been done before. Usually you become part of the project by buying a ticket after it's completed. Right. But this allows people on the ground floor. And I think it's a really great thing. So, and then you can pick and choose. The drawback to it, the downside of it, is that there's so many projects now. I get about 10 emails a week asking me to contribute something, $5, $10, $20 to various projects by friends of mine and some people I don't necessarily know. It becomes hard after a while to filter what's a strong project and what isn't, especially if it's someone I don't know and they haven't created a project yet. You sort of want to, give people an incentive to create art, but at the same time, everybody's doing it. Yeah. So at some point, you have to draw the line and say, hey, I could support this one, I'm not going to support that one. And then the criteria gets very intense as to what deserves your funds and what doesn't. I think we're going to see more of this in the future, but I think also what you're going to see is burnout. And then we have to create another way to get people involved and get people to raise money. Because when you have 10 emails a week is going to go to 20, then up to 50. Just think about Facebook, how initially it was really interesting how you were getting invited to a party or something, but now I'm getting like 20 invites a day for various things, to the point I turn off my notifications. And I don't want to be invited to anything, or I don't even look at the invite. And it's sad, but that's reality. That's what we are, and that's where I see it going. We've got to create some other new way of involving the consumer.
Right.
But right now, it's great.
Happy New Year opens this Friday, December 7th at the Quad Cinema Theater in New York City. Other markets will follow in the future depending on how well this film opens. So if you're in NYC, definitely check it out this weekend. I've seen it. It's a very powerful film, and it needs to be seen on the big screen. To find out more about the film, go to happynewyearfilm.com, and their Twitter handle is @HNYFilm. Thanks for tuning in, and check back next week for part 2. See you then.